Mm-hmm. 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 Come on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ah.
This is PZ Music.
Hello. Welcome to Backdoor Bills Talk. My name is at JDon'tFade. As you can see, we've got a guest on this week. That is Tommy. Tommy, why don't you go ahead and say hello to the folks?
What is going on? Finally, Jay Don't Fade is back. You know, he's like, man, this Jay Don't Fade, Mr. Malloy. I don't know, man. You just where do you hide at, man? Well, actually, I do know. I do know. Let me take that back. You were hiding in a shit ton of snow for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, man, I'm glad everything worked out for you, man. I know you were going through a little bit tough time there, so. And that goes for everyone else in Buffalo that went through all that crap. So, all right, you ready to get to it?
I'm ready to get to it. So, this week, biggest week of the year. I feel like we say that every couple weeks because usually every couple weeks prior to obviously the end of the season, there's always a couple big games on the schedule, and that seems where we're at now with Bills versus Bengals. It probably is the one seed on the line here. Not in the sense that either us or the Bengals, I mean, the Bengals can still get it, but not that it's either us or the Bengals, just that this is what's going to propel us over the Chiefs. Obviously, we got a game with the Pats at home, but feel it's taking care of business there regardless of what happens. But we need this win. Chiefs loss would be nice too, of course, just some comfort, pillow to land on. But
who are they going against the Chiefs this weekend? What's their matchup?
Like the Broncos, and then they have the Raiders next week. So
they got some easy win. Listen, we have to win out. I mean, the Chiefs ain't losing like that. I would be shocked. So I'm not even worried about who. Like we got to handle our business. Like at the end of the day, New England, that game, come on, like that we should just kind of check mark now. It's this game. This Monday night is the game that's going to tell all if we're the number one seed because. We beat Cincinnati. The chances are very slim that we lose against the Patriots at home, you know. But that's how I see it.
Yeah, Angry Buffalo, I agree. Needing the one seed. I mean, that's I was just about to touch on that actually after Tommy spoke, and I think that really it's crazy because like it's not more important than a playoff win, of course, but it's probably the most important thing more than the division. Even though naturally you win the division if you get the one seed. Especially for us specifically. So for Coach McDermott specifically. So if you look at Coach McDermott's playoff records with the Bills, he is 3-0 at home. He is 0-3 on the road. And I don't know if there's anything to that. We're kind of getting to the point 6-7 games on the record where you're starting to get some of the, you got 3 wins at home and 3 losses on the road. I don't know if it's the road crowd affecting them, what it is. A lot of those matchups, of course, are harder. You have them breaking the drought the first year in Jacksonville, and then you got 2 games at Arrowhead. So maybe it's more important to point out that 0-2 against the Chiefs in Arrowhead, where we don't have. We're 0-1, I think, against the Chiefs in Buffalo over the last couple of years. However, that was a regular season game. I think if we get the Chiefs at home, we can win it. I think here's the thing. I think we can win it if we get the Chiefs at home. I think on the road in the playoffs, I don't know that we can win that. I mean, is it possible? Of course. But I think we need to have some luck turn our way where in Buffalo, we truly could win based upon a matchup and having that crowd kind of play a role with not having someone like Tyreek Hill in their wide receiver core. So,
yeah, I mean, listen, this has been, if you had like a blackboard, which I'm sure there's some kind of check mark thing that Sean McDermott and this team has said what we want to do since he got here, right? Which is probably make the playoffs first, which they did 2017. And then next was to win the East, which they have successfully done 3 straight seasons. And then next was what? to win the AFC, going as the number 1 seed, get home field advantage. We all know that they've been
Which we haven't
preaching
had
that.
yet, so
We haven't had yet. That's right. So that check mark hasn't been checked. So that's the next goal. That's the goal we're going for. And we got to handle business, man. Like, I know they say every game is an important game. We don't look at it like, no, this is like this. These last 2 games are very, very important. I mean, yes, regardless, we're still in the playoffs. We still won the East, but that's not what our goal was. Our goal was to win the AFC. So we have a good bye week, which, by the way, will only get players healthier, right? And that's a positive. And we have 1 less game, and obviously we're at home. So, yeah, very important these 2 games coming up.
That being said, now are there important games throughout the year? Of course there is, but as Tommy alluded to, this is really the game. We lose this game, we're looking at the 2nd seed most likely, possibly even the 3rd seed, depending on how the Bengals finish out and how we finish out, which would be a pretty big fall from grace. But this is the most important thing. Like, we've never had that 1 seed with Josh Allen, with a healthy team for the most part. I mean, even Micah Hyde coming back, even if Micah Hyde, I'm at the point I'm at now, as far as liabilities and coverage, even if Micah Hyde is back at 75 to 80% of what he was prior to the injury for the next couple of weeks until next year when he's fresh and has a whole fresh training camp, that is better than DeMar Hamlin 100% from what I've seen so far in coverage.
Yeah, I mean, coverage, no doubt, but you got to give Hamlin a little credit for what he's done. He's not like he's this long, like, guy who's been on the roster for many seasons or a quality veteran. It's his first real starting, that he got thrown into, right? He wasn't supposed to start the season. It wasn't like Micah Hyde was the backup. He was just, he came in for injured Hyde. Listen, Hamlin's just a different type of player, obviously, than Hyde. Hyde is a better coverage. He's smarter. He's been around for, especially on this team for a while. But I think Hamlin, even if Hyde don't come back for the playoffs, I think Hamlin will be okay. I mean, I know it's not the same, but he's a hitter. I like his run. I like his run defense. He comes down, man. He makes some plays. He also makes some whiffs. He has some bad coverages at time, but I think he's going to be all right, man. I do. I think even next season, as he continues to get these reps, he's going to continue to get better, in my opinion. I think Hamlin was a steal on the draft for us. We kind of, we won that. So I like him. I like Hamlin. I do. He's better than Johnson.
If we don't have Micah Hyde and or Jordan Poyer next year, I do see some struggles. Now, if we have Poyer and Hamlin, I think we can live through that, given that the cornerback room gets better. But to have neither, I think that could be a real big.
Well, Hyde will be back. Hyde will be back next.
Hyde will be back, of course. Yes.
Yeah. So that I wouldn't worry about. But Poyer is going to be interesting. I really think. Man, I really hope.
I don't think he's anywhere. I think he's gone. Because I think they have the money.
Maybe we'll see. Listen, I never put anything past Brandon Beane anymore. I mean, honestly, like I said that last year about a couple of players and free agents. I said we're not going to do anything big in free agency. He already said it. Don't expect anything big. And like he wanted up, I think we had like 12 free agent signings, including Von Miller. You know what I mean? So and we got Dawson Knox signed. Like we did a lot that I did not expect to get.
And they're
done.
using Dawson now, which is nice.
Which is golly, man.
They're using.
Ken Dorsey's doing a lot. Yeah. He's doing a lot of different things, though. Jason,
you're a Dorsey lover, though, aren't you? From what I
am. I love. Listen, I do. But I think people are a little bit too critical of him. Listen, he's a rookie OC. That's kind of like a rookie quarterback coming in, and you're like, oh my god, he didn't throw for 400 yards for 6 straight games. That's terrible. Like, you can't dog. I'm just saying, you can't dog on him, right? Considering everything that's happened, Jason. And I continue to tell people this. First of all, we're 12-3. Okay. It's not like we're 6 wins, right? Or we're just awful offense and the defense has been carrying us all season. That's not the case. That's one. Two, he can't go out there and catch passes from Josh Allen, which, by the way, we lead the league in drop percentage. That's not Dorsey's fault that receivers are dropping the ball. That's on everybody that's dropping the ball. Dawson Knox, Gabe Davis, Isaiah McKenzie. I made sure they go on and on and on. So they have to do their part too. I'm not saying Dorsey's been perfect this season. Of course not. But we are 12-3. I believe we're still a top 5 offense. And we're putting up points. I mean, what more do you want? He's going to have a learning curve. He's going to go through some speed bumps. He's not perfect, but I still think he's doing better than Dable did his first season or even his second season with this team. So that's just my opinion.
See,
Without Cole Beasley to start the season, Jason Malloy, which
well, he's
Dable
not putting him in there now anyway. So I mean, that's the thing. Picking the personnel though.
Jason, you can't throw a guy that's been sitting right in. Now, listen.
Tommy, how many targets does Cole Beasley have since back?
I
How
think
many targets does he have? He has
only
2 right?
games.
How many catches?
What do you want?
How many catches does he have?
He's only played 2 games.
2 targets, 2 catches, right?
Okay, so what?
Maybe you can put him back in. Maybe you can.
What are you talking about?
Maybe you can throw him back in.
You got
2 targets, 2 catches.
Listen. You got 2 games to go, right? And this season, you're gonna see his targets pick up, just like they said. Mixon's getting a lot of snap counts now. If you look at Mixon's snap count from when he first came to the Buffalo Bills till now, it's gone up every single game.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, not Mixon. I'm talking about Hines. I'm sorry.
Hines,
take that back. So if you look at Hines' snap count from the time he got here to the time now, it's gone up every single game. Now, is he catching passes? Is there plays getting involved for him? We can argue that. But that's also on Josh Allen. You know, listen, Hines has been open a few times. Allen's just not looking his way. That's not Dorsey telling him don't throw the ball to Hines. Like, that's on Allen. So maybe Allen needs to get Hines a little bit more involved or see that he's open. But other than that, listen, Cole Beasley, I believe, in my opinion, you're going to see the snap count go up. You're going to see more plays drawn for him. And going into the playoffs, you will see Cole Beasley probably used on most of the snap count. In my opinion.
You're saying he'll basically take over Isaiah McKenzie's spot.
Yes.
Like a third. So
yes.
3 wide receiver sets he's out there. Gotcha.
Yes. That's how I see it going. I could be wrong. Who knows? I could be wrong. They could really like McKenzie and go, no, man, McKenzie's the guy. He started all. Who knows? But I don't think so. I really don't.
McKenzie is definitely not the guy. McKenzie is a point of contention I have because people – like when we were talking about maybe him walking or leaving, maybe even last year, the year before, it's like, what are you guys freaking? The guy has like 2 or 3 solid games, and it's not like, well, that's the only opportunity he's got. Yeah, because he didn't break the roster to get the opportunities. He was there because there were injuries, and he stepped up in those times because he plays with probably the best quarterback in the league, athletically at least, and he played well. But like, we're not losing, like a true wide receiver 2 here. It's like it's a true gadget player at the end of the day.
Correct, and he's a good get, but he's a good. See, that's where like
in that role, yes,
I think a lot of Bills Mafia, like, they don't see that. They only see it like he sucks. Slot like, okay, I can go with that, but he's better as just a gadget receiver, a guy that we can fill in as a 4th or 5th receiver option. Jet sweeps, motions, like he does those very well. He's been with Allen a while. Also, Allen trusts him, and he does have some games where he breaks out because teams aren't paying attention to him. But he as a natural slot receiver, it's just not for him. It's not his position. You can kind of see like Allen doesn't trust him. He has a lot of drops. So I think Cole will ease into that position. I just don't think they didn't want to do it right away. But you got to admit, we signed Cole Beasley on a Tuesday. He played that Sunday. He played again the following week. So clearly their goal is to use him and to get him involved heading into the playoffs. That's how I see it. I don't see why you would automatically get him, play him right away, and just go, 1 target, that's cool, and then we're not going to play in the playoffs. Like, I can't see – I don't know why they would do that.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, it's another thing for the opposing defensive coordinators and head coaches and coaching staff to game plan for. So I would just like to see, like I said, there's been so many of those third – I don't know. I can tell you what my opinion is because I think the play calling needs to get a little bit better, but – I think that we've been at so many of those 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. And the reason I was talking to my dad about this, the reason that if you look at it from a whole, from the outside looking in, like you're not like one of us that really overanalyzes a lot of the numbers because we're diehard Bills fans, we make content about it. You'd be like, oh, the Bills offense is good. What do you got? It's the efficiency of the offense. You look at it, it's because, look at these first 2. Well, you look at any given 4 set of downs. These 2 plays are terrible, and then Allen makes up for it somehow on a crazy 3rd down play, and we just forget about it,
Okay, so I have a reply for that. So I agree with you in a sense that was happening early on. But if you look at the last, I would say, almost month of the offense. Instead of getting ourselves in 3rd and longs, we've been running the ball more and getting into ourselves in 3rd and shorts a lot more than these 3rd and 8s, 39s, where Allen needs to make a crazy play happen to pick up the first down. So by running the ball, by getting Singletary more involved, which we all been asking for, James Cook is now starting to play much better. He's starting
still can't run well because he trips like once
a
game. What is the deal with the trip?
Oh, I think that's so funny that you say that. I tweeted that out like 2 weeks. I'm like, I don't get it with it's not even just James Cook. It's what is going on? You figure the cleats, we would know what we're playing, and yet we have like the worst footing of any team. Like we always slip or fall, trip over our feet. Like I'm like, what is going? And then the gloves, like everybody else makes these great catches in the snow and rain, and we're just can't make a catch. Like I'm like, yo, find whatever gloves the opposite team's wearing, ask where they got them for the next game and go get them, because clearly something's going on there, and the cleats too. But no, James Cook has actually played a lot better. You got to give him credit. I still think Singletary is the guy. I think you got to lead with him, and then get James kind of not split carries, but get James Cook going as during the game as Singletary's kind of wearing down the defense, because Singletary's a little bit different of a running back than Cook as far as like his strength. He's a tough back. He's not an easy guy to take down. Even though he was small, he'll still wear down a defense. So James Cook coming in. If you see like his long run last week was towards like the end of the game, 3rd quarter, I want to say, right? Later in the game, and Singletary already ripped one off, I believe the series before or 2 series before that. So the defensive line was already starting to wear down in Chicago. Also, I gotta say the offensive line I still think it's terrible.
It's awful. It's actually gotten worse.
Right, but I will say this: the last 2 weeks I thought they've played a little better. I thought last week was their most complete game, and yes, granted, it was against a bad Bears team, but even our offensive line plays bad against the worst defensive line teams. Yeah. So just to see that they played good finally, I was happy with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the normal offensive line, they would have made the Bears defensive line look like they're a top 5. So like, I thought they did well. Mitch Morse coming back, which is good. By the way, Mitch Morse, they have another, man, Bean has to think about that next season. That's another thing we're going to have to worry about, because I don't know if he's going to make it another season, I'll be honest with you, or if he wants to play another season.
That might
Either way, we're going to have to start.
Honestly,
I still think they got to start thinking about replacing him regardless.
Yeah, they
know what I mean?
Looking at the draft now, because I really hope their plan isn't to like try and shift somebody from like over.
Right.
It just doesn't really work that well. They got to look at maybe into the draft. I think this will be a big offensive line draft, because he's already like can do money wise with it. He's like, I got to go to the draft board. What got him there, originally. So
you have to. If he doesn't listen, if they don't address the offensive line in the draft, there's a problem.
Saffold looks god awful. I mean, penalties over the last couple weeks. Spencer Brown looks. Yeah, he's maybe getting worse. Honestly, I don't.
No, I don't think so.
He's terrible. Dude. He's
really
bad.
No, I don't think so. See, I disagree.
He's very bad, dude.
I disagree with
penalties.
You. Sure, but I don't know. Listen, I don't agree with that. I think he. It's his second season. The only thing that concerns me with him is the injuries, like, are piling up for a guy that's only played a season and a half. That's Brown. One. Yeah, Spencer Brown. Okay. That's one. Like that. I kind of don't like that, right? That's a kind of a concern, because he's a young player. Like,
it's good though. It's only good in the sense, obviously we don't want to be hurt, but it's good in the sense that then someone else is in that spot and he's not in the game.
But I still listen, Jay, I'm telling you, listen.
Not good, man.
He's going to, I think he's one of those guys that's going to take a little bit, but I think he'll get there. I really do. Like, he's a big,
like Cody Ford.
Big guy who's athletic. He can get out on the run blocking. You see glimpses of him,
like Cody Ford,
really make. Yeah, listen.
That's what I'm saying. Though. Cody Ford.
I've seen him. Listen, I really believe he can play that position at a higher level. I just think right now, I just think, what, also too, because of the injuries, I think that also sets him back a little bit with getting on the field with training camp, missing training camp, missing games. Like, he's behind. So we'll see. I'm not overly concerned with Spencer Brown. This is not a what's the guy that Cody Ford issue? Like he's just not. So matter of fact, Spencer Brown was way later in a pick than Cody Ford, who we traded up to get, right? So I wouldn't worry about Spencer Brown.
He's responsible for over half of Josh's sacks. That's all I'll say. Over half.
I wouldn't worry about it.
And he's the most penalized lineman on the team. So there's that too. That's two really big things.
Listen, they're all penalized. Listen, no one on that line except for Deion Dawkins.
And even then, he's had a couple over the last couple weeks.
And he does the dumbest penalties.
But he performs better though at the end of the day, of course.
Exactly. So, but like Saffold, for instance, he was only a 1-year deal. He was a veteran guy. And I just think, listen, he's reached the top of the hill, right? Like, I think that's it for Saffold. There's not really
a way they could make it better next year, because like if you think about, like, they can make it better next year, but it won't be like a finish. I'm not expecting a finish.
Of course not.
So much to have to rebuild.
No,
three spots, maybe 4 spots that you're looking at.
You can't. Yeah. So what I would think was, me and Mikey at least agree on this. I really truly believe they'll put Bates at center. Like, I think they'll groom him, and he's not a bad center. Ryan Bates is a pretty good center, and I think you can, if you put him in that slot, give him some, time in camp that's only at that slot, get a right guard in the draft, get a left guard. There you go. But then you got to find it, then you got to find backups. You got to get quality free agents. So easier said than done when it comes to offensive linemen. You know that. You could draft an offensive lineman in the first round, he's a bust. We all know that. We drafted, was it Mike Williams way back in the day? So first round, and he was.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Pat Williams, defensive.
Yeah, and he was great in college, by the way. He was a monster, man. But so I wouldn't. You got to be careful in the draft, man. You don't always get There's been a ton of offensive linemen that have been bust.
Well, look at Mekhi Becton. The Jets took him, right? So he was terrible when he first came here. He's the guy that's like, they had him stand next to what's his name, Jameson Crowder, and he was like 3 times the size. He was terrible, and then he had injury issues, and then I think this year he tore his ACL right when he was starting to get good. So like that was the guy that took like 11th overall.
That sucks, man. It is what it is.
Yeah, Scott's got a question, so I want to make sure I'm reading this right. First, Scott congratulated Tommy on having a good interview with Steve.
Thank you. That was fun, man. That was awesome, by the way. Had a great
Scott says, perhaps a hope of mine. But I feel like Josh's experience Monday will be similar to early season. What do you think? Now, by asking that, Scott, are you saying like, do you think it'll be similar? Like he'll have success like early in the season, or you're like it'll feel the same for him early in the season? Because if you're saying like what he's saying, I'm sure it'll feel the same.
I think what he's saying is he thinks that he'll be the Josh of like early on. But what do we think? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, last week wasn't a good indicator that's going to be the case, but I would love to be wrong there.
Shitty, yeah, but you can't.
A couple bad throws that last week.
Very shitty weather, windy. Like you can't always say a god awful performance. You gotta count. You gotta play. Like
I mean, the throw across the body was more like a throw.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying in general.
That's the one that's sticking out.
And I challenge. Yeah, but what quarterback's going in that kind of weather? It's just lighting it up. Like it's not happening.
Oh no, I don't want to light it up. I'm just saying a couple of questions were like a couple of throws were questionable. That one was like, Josh, you know how to make that throw, man. Like, come on.
But that's Josh. He will all. I know, but you know what's funny though? How many times have we seen that, Jason, and it worked? And we're like, oh my god! And then the announcers are like, only one quarterback can throw like that, right? And we're like, yeah. But then the time that he does it and it's almost picked, we're like, why? Right? So it is what it is. You got to take the good with the bad with Allen. But for the most part, he don't really make a lot of mistakes. Now this season, the interceptions are a little bit up there. Some of them are not his fault. If you go back to a lot of the plays, James.
The early ones, a lot of them weren't his fault. They were off receivers' hands.
Yeah. They're early, but I'm saying a lot. But there's a couple ones that weren't. James Cook running the wrong way. You know what I mean? Off someone's hands. Like some of them are not, but some of them are clearly his fault. And that happens. No quarterback's perfect, bro. No quarterback's perfect. I think Mahomes has 12 interceptions. Whoever wants to say that.
11. Josh and both have 11, something like that.
No. Josh went up. He threw an interception. I think he's second now in the league or something. But I don't listen. At the end of the day, man, it's about our winning record. It's about how we play down the stretch, and I feel like how we're playing right now down the stretch it is showing what this team's going to look like in the playoffs. I believe that. Like I believe we're getting a running game going for a reason. Players are getting healthy again, which is huge, right? Obviously, we have no Von Miller, no Micah Hyde. It is what it is. You can't. But everybody else coming back is great. I still think they should sit Jordan Phillips for at least a game, maybe both until the playoffs. In my opinion, he's just too banged up. I think they're putting him in too soon. And I think he's going to play a big key in the playoffs, man. You can't be missing.
Well, I think they know this is the game they need, though. Like, I think if we win,
that's why they're playing him. Yeah, I agree with you on that. But if I were like maybe next game against the Patriots, they sit him or something, like sit certain players, maybe. I don't know. But that's risky too because you want to win the game.
When we can, because this is what's going to happen again next year. He's going to get another offer. It's going to be 2 years, 20 million, something like that. Yep.
I would 100% sign Shaq again.
And I'm saying he'll be gone again next year because it'll be the same situation as it was a couple of years ago.
Oh, he'll go for the money back?
He'll be back again in a year. Yeah, it'll be He just worked. He's at the point now where I think maybe he's mature enough now as far as like himself and wanting to settle down, where not like he's immature, but like immature enough where he's like, hey, I realize that this system really works for me. I'd take a discount to stay here, make money off the fan base loving me, being a fan favorite, like stuff like that, growing in this community. So,
Maybe. And Phillips too, by the way.
Yeah.
Maybe they both are like, hey, I got enough. I don't want to move again.
They both got nice deals and they got good chunks of change from it. So
sure they did. Of course. So maybe, I don't know what they do with their money, but yeah, I mean, I would love for both those players to be back. I mean, Shaq especially because he's had a really good year in my opinion, and he fits this defense perfectly.
Well, he's turned it up since Von has been out, which is good.
Sure, yeah. But listen, he was a good player when he was here before he left. He fit the system. He fits the system to a T. So.
Rotational piece. Rotational is going to give you success in certain areas, like in the run game. He's really good. So
exactly.
Yeah, him and Ed Oliver looking good too. Ed's on his 5th year next year? No, it's not his 5th year next year, is it?
Yeah, it is. We picked up his option, so he's here next year. But then we got to worry about his contract. So
well, we've got some. The thing is, this year is going to hurt, but we have some cash. If you look at the next year, we'll have some cash coming up. So
and the cap's going to go up.
That's why I think they may be able to get. Maybe they do. I'm hoping they get JP back and they maybe just backload a bunch of money into the next couple of years. But
I think the Edmonds deal is going to be the tricky one, in my opinion.
I've already accepted him going, and if it came down to him, Poyer, I'm sorry, I know I'm taking Poyer.
I would want them both, but I just feel like what's going to happen with Edmonds is Bean's going to let him test the market. He's going to get offers, and I don't
big offers,
Yeah, and I don't think Bean's going to be able to match it. That will be the problem. He's not going to do a Matt Milano. When Matt Milano re-signed with the Bills, he took a team deal. I don't think. Listen, Edmonds at this point in his career is young. He's going to want to get paid, and some team's going to offer him big money, and I think it's going to be too much for Bean to be able to pay. And
I think it's going to be too much overall. I don't think. I don't think Edmonds deserves more than 11 or maybe $12 million bucks.
You might be wrong on that though, depending on where he goes and what system.
I think he could look better.
I don't think
we should be if we blitz more.
I don't think we use him right.
To blitz more, yeah.
Correct. Certainly. I don't think we use Edmonds correctly, in my opinion. I think
he's a freak, and we don't ever let him go by that band.
Like imagine him as like Micah Parson, right? Like if you let that dude loose, like he would every time, and I scream for it, and they never they very rarely do in the games. But I'm like, whenever they rush when we do linebacker blitzes, even with Milano, we get home most of the time, or we disrupt the quarterback so much they're throwing the ball away or making a bad decision. And we very rarely do linebacker blitzes. I don't get it, man. Because
Edmonds would be a beautiful defensive end edge rusher in a 3-4 system.
Oh,
I'm sorry, no, yeah, wait, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3-4 system. Like an outside linebacker, I mean, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he would
because he can roam, but he can really get pressure whenever he wants. Like the Raven system would be a great system for him, to be honest with you.
Oh, he's tall, he's fast, he's big. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even if a quarterback's trying to get out of his way, he could catch up to you. He could put his arms up and swat the ball down because it's his length. We just don't use him right. I mean, he does as good as he can in this system, but I don't think his system fits him. That's just my opinion.
I think McDermott took him because he was excited about him and he was truly the best available at that time. So that's why they traded up and they're like, wait, this guy's still available here. We got to get up.
And he's so young. He was so young, bro. He's still young. some guys in college coming out, he's the same
Yeah,
age.
he's what, 26, 20, maybe not even? Was he
No,
25,
he's younger
26?
than that.
24?
I think he's 23, 24.
He's
Hold
going to be
on,
one of
I'll
those
tell you.
guys that makes a shit ton of money in the league because he's going to get like
That's what I mean.
a 6-year deal here, and then he'll be like 29 or whatever and still playing like in his prime and get like another 3 or 4 year deal, like a Von Miller type guy, another 3 or 4 year deal, and he's going to cash out in this league. So
He's 24 years old, bro.
well, he's got to make money for his brother who was a flop. His brother flopped. His brother flopped hard.
He
in
did.
Pittsburgh.
He did in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's jump in now. We're 30 minutes in here. Just through the
Just
breeze. I want to jump into predictions now because I was going to go over injury report, but we really don't have anything. This is a good thing. We really don't have anything.
By the way, real quick, you see Cincinnati talking a lot of trash.
They are. They're that's bulletin board material. Yeah.
Man, I'm like, all right, okay. That's one thing we don't chirp back. If you notice, the Bills kind of just players are we don't do that. So I don't think this is not our style, man. We don't like.
Lyle Collins is out, I believe, right? Because he didn't practice first. I don't know if he's out or not. I can't tell. Lyle Collins, I believe he's out for them. Sam Hubbard is questionable. He has a bunch of limited practice this week, but they think they're going to try and give it a go. It would be nice to have him out. Edge rusher, and I believe he's on Cody. I almost just said it. Cody Ford. He's on Spencer Brown's side. Same thing, right? Jordan Poyer is the guy that's questionable, but I think he's gonna tough it out. Honestly, he's been nursing the same injury.
They're just doing that. They're just giving him they're just not wanting to.
As little activity as possible leading up to the game.
Correct. I wouldn't look anything past that. He'll be playing.
So it's a mostly healthy game for both these teams. And one thing I want to talk before we get into predictions, and maybe this kind of leads into predictions, we got to start force feeding Stephon Diggs the ball. He's not getting his targets, man. That's the rest of the narratives that are being brought up. I don't believe that there really is too much to them. But do I think he's a little upset? I think he might be a little upset. I think he wants the ball more, certainly.
I don't know about force feeding, though. You got to be careful when it comes to that. You know how that goes. Then we're all sitting back on why is he forcing all these passes, right? And that's how sometimes things go wrong, right? Interceptions, you got a guy wide open. He needs to get Diggs more involved. Dorsey needs to call more plays for Diggs, sure. But I don't know about overly forcing the ball to Diggs. You get what I mean? Like, there's a difference, so
it's almost like they're giving Isaiah McKenzie like his little targets, plus they're giving him Diggs targets because some of those routes he's running are like that's
yeah. I don't understand. I don't understand either. But Allen knows. Like Allen said right after the game, that Bears game, he mentioned it. So clearly he knows, or they've talked, or something, right? Because why would he say it right away?
I like that people are painting the picture though, because it's almost gonna make him think maybe like I should probably give him the ball more. It might create something that's not already there, which I love.
Listen, they've had a great connection since he's came here. I think what is he at 1,400 yards receiving? I mean, we're talking about he's got his targets, bro. Trust me. Like I want to overthink this.
Well, remember when he was arguing with McDermott in Detroit? Now that could have just been because Detroit is a disgusting, vile city, and only slime lives there. But
I think he, you know what it is? I think he gets frustrated when we have opportunities to pick first downs and we don't go his way. You know what I mean? And we don't pick up because if we would have picked up the first down, let's say everything's going smooth, he ain't gonna go out and complain, right? Of course not, right? We're driving down the field and making plays, but in that game in particular, we were 3 and out. Like, so I can understand it. You know what I mean? He's your top guy. Get him involved, right? Call play for him, and it is what it is. But I want to overlook it. Like Allen and him have a very good connection. Look at the yards, right? I mean, that is his guy. Like I wouldn't. There's no problem at home, so.
Tommy, what is the atmosphere like living in a city with only terrible sports teams?
Oh, my God.
Every team
now, it's so bad. Well, not Michigan, by the way.
The Lions are getting better, but yeah.
They are, so that, like, obviously, like, I talk to Lion fans because I work at a sports bar. They're happy, but I'm a Piston fan. Terrible. I'm a Tigers fan. Awful. And it's not even like, listen, it's okay if your team – it happens. If your team sucks for a year or two, you're building things back up. But we've been terrible for
a long
years
time.
And years.
Since Ben Wallace, really.
Yeah, but same with the Tigers since like since Dabrowski left, right?
Since you guys got swept by my team, the Orioles, in the playoffs like 6-7 years ago. Yeah,
it is what it is. But my point is, we were a good team back then. We got to the World Series a couple times. Like you got in baseball, it's a little bit different than football and basketball. There's no cap. You know, once the owner, like, if the owner's cheap, you're fucked in baseball, in my opinion. If you don't go out spending, you're done. But basketball, no excuse. Football, no excuse. You got to go out and
Yeah, you
get the
got to
right guy.
Same with hockey. Hockey, you got to cap. So
You have an opportunity. It's up to the ownership, the GM, and the coach, and that's where the Pistons and the Lions have failed for years and years.
We
and
got
years
Cade
and years
Cunningham,
and
but he's like injury issues now. So I'm like,
he's out for the season. I do like the new guy they got, but he's having a little rookie struggles. But we'll see. That's tough. It's tough to watch. I'm not gonna lie. But either way, yeah, Detroit in itself, man, I feel bad for fans here. It's rough. It is rough.
I was there for the Lions game. And it was like, like I said, the stadium itself, because obviously I have season tickets for the Bills, so I'm hoping the new stadium looks nice. I wish they would do something kind of like Detroit did, but that dome felt nice. Like, I had to worry about any of the weather.
Yeah, I went with the Cleveland game for the when we played the Browns.
Yeah.
So I agree. Like, why wouldn't they do that for him? But I don't understand.
It's loud in there.
I get
Even
it.
a lot of fans are like, they make it really loud because it's a dome.
It's a nice. It's
like
not
10 feet from like freaking Comerica.
Yeah. I don't know, but it is what it. Listen, Bills fans, just be lucky they got a stadium.
I mean,
it's
stuck in this one forever. So predictions now. We'll jump and we're gonna wrap up with predictions here. And Tommy, I'll let you go first. What's your prediction? I want the score and the player of the game tomorrow or Monday.
Player of the game. I don't know about that. That's always tough because But I'm gonna go. I'll go score. I'll say. I'm gonna say 34-24. I think the Bills win 34-24. Listen, the Bengals they're not like this unbelievable defense where we like the Jets defense, for instance, or the Patriots defense, where we're gonna have a tough time. They're okay. I think they're middle of the pack. But they're nothing that's gonna prevent this offense from not scoring touchdowns, in my opinion. Now their offense is solid. They have really good players. They got a hell of a quarterback. They got 3 good receivers. They got 2 good receivers and 1 great receiver in Chase. They got a good running back in Mixon. They got a good offense, no doubt about it. Their offensive line it was really bad to start the season. I think it's gotten a little better. But it's still nothing to write home about. You still can get home to Burrow. You still can make plays on Burrow. Burrow is not the most mobile quarterback in the NFL. He can move a little bit, but you could definitely get to him. He's not a guy that he's going to escape, your grasp like a Mahomes or, whatever, like whoever the hell is Murray or whatever. Like, he's a quarterback you could definitely get. And that's why I think Lamar Jackson.
That's the name you're missing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of names like fast guys.
In a couple weeks, so I'll give you that.
But exactly. Maybe that's why I haven't thought of Lamar Jackson, because he hasn't been on the field for like a couple.
He's not even back this week. He's not even practicing it. They're saying he might be holding out.
Oh,
all my Orioles fans, my group chat are going. They're going ballistic. They think he's going to Miami.
I said that, or I don't. Was it you that I talked? I said
probably.
That
I've heard it from a lot of people. Honestly, now.
I said that like week 2. Like, I was like, bro,
you
look
did mention
out
it early.
Yeah. So, and I was just a thought. I just popped. I'm like, bro, the way Miami spends and the whole
they still have money left. They could figure it out. They could do it.
Yeah, and the weird thing with Tua, you know what I mean? Like, they've never really liked him, like ownership and GM.
And now they have a reason to get rid of him. So
you never know. But anyways, 34-24. Player of the game. If I had to throw one out there, I'll go with the main guy that we always go with. And that's Josh Allen. Because he will have to obviously get those points on the board. I think Devin Singletary will have a good game again. I think James Cook will also have a pretty good game. I think we're going to keep that running attack going. Here's the deal with this game. They have a high-powered offense, Cincinnati. We know this. I think running the ball here is going to be critical. I think time of possession, keeping Cincinnati off the field, for as long as we can, will play a big key in this game. And turnovers. So if we do not turn the ball over in the red zone, which we've been better at, and we put points up, I don't even care if the 3. Take the points, just don't get a turnover. We will win this game, no problem. But that's how I see how I see the game going. Just win time of possession, score your points in the red zone, and try to limit your turnovers. That's it.
I agree with that.
Running
I
game.
think I have the same difference in score, of course. However, I do have different not outcome, but different score. So I have 41-31. I could see it being 41-34.
40 burger. All right.
Yeah, I think the Bills are going to put up some points. I think the first half's going to be close. It's typical Bills wins. It's 17-10, something like that. We come out, maybe start a little slow in the third, but we play good on defense in the third, and then we just start lighting it up. We figured it out. They're highlighting Josh Allen. They're calling him magician, technician, ventriloquist, whatever they call Mahomes. Josh makes some crazy play. Probably that's starting to become his iconic one, along with the hurdle, the running out of bounds and like just lobbing up to somebody down there, which he did. It's funny because he did it twice this year, and then remember he did it last year too with Dawson Knox in the playoff game. I was there watching it from 15 feet away. Well, maybe more like 25, 30 feet away, but 25 feet away, he's running out of bounds and everything plays over, and Dawson catches the ball. He's running out of bounds. That's the third time he's done it. So it's becoming his iconic play now.
Like his thing. That's his thing.
It's like he'd be really good in basketball, like saving the ball, saving the possession. So, but yeah, I got 41-31. I have player of the game someone different. It's someone that I'm really excited to announce and hopefully is player of the game. That's Tre'Davious White. Tre'Davious White has been Tre'Davious White has been making some plays, especially in the Dolphins game. He was starting to feel. You could see some of the confidence coming back in his swagger, his celebration after pass breakups. People can say, "Oh, that's pass interference." Shut the fuck up. Pass interference. Football when I was a kid we wouldn't even question it. It was a little bit of touching. Okay, they're allowed 5-yard bump. Within 5 yards, they're allowed to bump. They're allowed to push. They're allowed to pull. Whatever you want. I mean, to an extent, of course. If the wide receivers giving contact within 5 yards, cornerback can give it right back to him. It doesn't make a difference. So I have Tre'Davious White. I think he's going to get his first pick since being back tomorrow.
I like that.
Pick six. We'll see. But I got first pick tomorrow. A couple passes defended. He's going to be able to lock down whoever he's on. So
I like that. I like that pick.
Oh, and also Dane Jackson should not be starting tomorrow. He sucks.
Oh my God!
Dane, I love you as a guy. You're a decent man, but like you're just not the starter here, bro.
It was such a relief to see Kyer last week.
He's good. He shows you the flashes of why he's a first round pick.
And it's honestly a relief that Christian Benford is getting back, because I know you didn't really care for him too much in the beginning, but he's a good player, bro.
I like him as a third. I like him as like not a full-time starter, but I like him as like a depth guy for now.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, man, he's not a bad player. He's a physical player. He's better than Dane Jackson from what I've seen. And you know what? It's weird because with Dane Jackson, it's not that he's getting like beat off the ball. He's just not making a play when it's needed.
He's always there. He just can't make the play.
Yeah, and that's
like a step behind.
But maybe
step behind. That's it.
Yeah, but maybe
it's not off the rip. It's at the end of the route. Yeah.
Yeah, but who knows with him? I'm not giving up on Dane Jackson just yet. But I will say this season, if we want to go far and against top-notch offenses and receivers, I think you got to start Kyer over Dane Jackson. You have to, and Benford as well. I think you got to put. I think Dane needs to go in the offseason and train a little harder, fix his game up, whatever he needs to do. Lift some weights, get a little stronger, whatever you got to do, Dane, to get back, on the field and playing at a high level. Because right now, it's just not there. It's not there.
Yeah, I agree. And with that being said, and the fact that my laptop has 10% battery and the charger is at Best Buy, my job.
And it's New Year's Eve, and I know people are trying to drink, and Jason said, how long is this motherfucker going to be? And I told him 30 to 45 minutes. Yeah. It's his show, but
46 minutes. 45 we started at once. 45.
Yeah. So we are out. Yeah, so everybody in the chat, it was just Scott tonight, which I understand, but anybody watching this again or watching the replay, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Monday night, me and Mikey are going to do the post game, so be there. It's going to be a late one. So other than that, Jason, take us away.
But yeah,
it is what it is.
That is Backdoor Bills talk. I'm Jado Fade. That's Tommy. You have yourself a good night, folks. We will see you next week.